Okay.
I took a couple of notes. I mean, it's just kind of a thing that we do is we're doing a live show every Tuesday. We talk about stuff. So welcome back to another Wisco Fanatics Tuesday evening where we talk about the Packers. Pretty in depth, I would say. Probably worth note taking about. But this week we got another W. Even on a short week, Packers showed that their week 1 win was not a fluke and that their defense is for real. So we're going to start with the defense like we normally do. So we're going to hit the intro. We're going to recap the Commanders game and then preview the ass whooping that the Packers are about to put on the Cleveland Browns on Sunday.
Welcome to another episode of the Wisco Fanatics Show, where we cover the Packers, Bucks, Brewers, and Badgers basketball and football teams from an optimistic and realistic perspective.
Wisco Fanatics is brought to you by Cardboard Legacy, Wisconsin's most complete sports card shop. Buy, sell, grade, and consign all at their location in Oshkosh.
Alrighty, so as I said, Packers 2-0, started with 2 pretty good offenses, held them both under 20 points, the Lions to 13, and now the Commanders this week to 18. So, Simon, starting with the blitz versus coverage breakdown, what did you see from the Packers defense?
Yeah, Packers blitzed a little bit more this game, kind of surprisingly. They blitzed 12 plays. Forcing 7 pressures on those plays, and it went sack for -1, incomplete, 9 yards to Zach Ertz, sack for -10 yards, incomplete, 7 yards to Terry McLaurin, 10 yards to Debo for a touchdown. So all in all, they got 2 sacks. Jane Daniels went 3 for 10 for 26 yards and a touchdown that didn't end up mattering at the end of the game. I think that's pretty good.
Love that.
I think just in general, the NFL loves playing nickel defense. It's kind of more like base now. They played only 6 plays of base defense, and through the first 2 weeks, the Packers are playing man at a 22% rate, cover 0 at a 1% rate, cover 1 at 21%, and cover 3 at 28%.
Interesting.
So he mixes up coverages pretty well.
Yeah. Jake, how you feeling about the pass rush?
Man, the pass rush is something special. Not only, and rightfully so, we give a lot of respect to Micah Parsons. That's his specialty. Obviously, he's a very good player all around. But he seemed to raise. We thought it was just going to be Rashawn Gary, but there's another guy on this defensive line that is playing motivated. Obviously, there's going to be a paycheck at the end of his rainbow, and that's Devontae Wyatt, man, and he is just fucking balling right now, dude. At the game on Thursday, I watched him probably half the plays that I was watching on defense, and I was like, dude, he is destroying every man that is in front of him right now. They don't stand a chance against him. He's dominating. Sorrell and Brooks, they combined for a sack on a big 3rd and 1. Cooper and Parsons, they combined for a sack. Wyatt got a sack. Gary got a sack. And Gary's sack was a huge momentum play as well. The Commanders converted their 4th down that they converted on Thursday night. They were 1 for 3 in that. I'll go over that more in depth shortly. But immediately after that 4th down, Rashawn Gary on 1st down got an 8-yard sack, which stalled the drive. So just momentum plays after momentum plays from this defensive front. And I think that everybody's going to agree with me when I say this, but I think that Cooper is probably the 2nd best player in this defense. For a long time, people were still saying Rashawn Gary. I'm ready to say Cooper, bro. That guy flies around. He covers everybody. He's so good at blitzing. Dude, he is insane. I know that Xavier McKinney is still on the team too. I didn't forget about him. I know people are going to say that too, but
That's what I would say.
I don't disagree with that. Me personally, I just think that maybe in a more important position, middle linebacker is a little bit more important. We can have a debate on this all day long, but for me,
linebackers are around the football a little bit more.
I'm putting Cooper up there. I know that Xavier McKinney is very good too. It's a good debate to have, and it's a good that we can have a debate like that, talking about who's the best player on our defense. It's been a long time since we can be so excited about a defense, right? Yeah. So not only did the Packers have 4 sacks, they had 6 quarterback hits. Parsons, Van Ness, Cooper, Walker, and Wyatt. If you haven't seen the clip on Walker's quarterback hit, they kept running this bluff blitz with Cooper standing in the A gap, and Cooper actually backs out of it, and former Badger at center, He was waiting for Cooper to come. He's literally staring at him like, "Are you coming? Are you coming? Are you coming?" And Walker runs right behind him like a runway towards Jane Daniels. And I'm like, the gravity this guy is creating is insane. And on top of all the sacks and the quarterback hits, which are fun, 21 quarterback hurries. That's courtesy of PFF. You might have different numbers elsewhere, but Devontae Wyatt and Parsons both had 5 apiece. That's crazy. Gary had 3. Cooper and Igbari had 2 each. Barron, Sorrell, Walker, Brooks, and McDuffie all had 1 each. Wyatt also had 2 batted balls, so that's very good. If you're not going to get to the quarterback, get your hands on the ball, get your hands in the passing lanes. And I like this number. Barron Sorrell had a 33% pass run win rate, so he might be cooking up something later in the season too. The Packers are insanely deep at defensive front after years and years and years addressing the issue. They get rid of a guy who was like the original first-round pick on the defensive line, and now everybody's just good. That's crazy to me, but I love the pass rush. It's making the whole defense good. The energy is insane. Lambeau energy is insane. Bryant, you're going to have so much fun when you go to Lambeau this year, dude.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, the air feels different there, bro.
Yeah, I'm excited about it for sure.
The guy wearing number 1 makes a big difference. He really does.
He really does.
He played 47, Micah Parsons, that is, played 47 out of the 69 snaps, 68.1%. Nice. I was hoping for, yeah, that was nice. I'm like, dude, he couldn't have played like 1 or 2 more snaps. Play 69% of 69 snaps. That would have been electric.
Right.
But I was hoping for him to be around 60%. For him to go from 47% of snaps to 68% of snaps, that to me says that A, he's ramping up in the system very well, considering he only had 4 days in between game 1 and game 2. Yeah. That's a 21% increase with only 4 days off in between games. And it also eases a significant amount of worry on the seriousness of his back injury.
Well, did you see what he said after the game, where he said it was pissing him off that he wasn't playing more. So he wants to play more. So I expect him. Originally, it was funny because after the first week, he's like, I think by the end of the month we should be good. No, and after the game 2, he's like, screw this, I want to play them all. So I think we'll see him quite a bit against Cleveland.
Yep. So he was leading the team in pressures. He was credited with 8 pressures. Also drew 2 penalties, was the highest graded defender. Scott, yes, it was a great win. Welcome back. Jake brought up Devontae Wyatt and how eye-catching he is on the field, and brought up the 2 batted down passes that he had to go with 7 pressures, second on the team, only to Micah Parsons. And I realize we're 2 games in, but I am going to conduct, and this train is going to be at the station for those who want to board. Devontae Wyatt's going to be a Pro Bowler this year.
Yeah.
I can see it.
So I understand we're 2 games in, but we're talking about 2 good offenses, even though one has a rebuilt offensive line and the other one has a meh offensive line. But they were both top 5 offenses last year.
I'll say he'll play at a Pro Bowl level. I don't really trust random fans to, recognize him right away. So
if he doesn't get that recognition for Pro Bowl, then I'm not going to rule out an All-Pro for him. Yeah. I understand there's a lot of other good defensive tackles, but the respect that the Packers defense is getting through the first 2 weeks of the season tells me that it's possible. And yes, Zach, a very fun 2 games so far. It is good to see. I called this last week. Good to see Carl Brooks have a better game week 2 than week 1. So it's good to see him grow. Barron Sorrell, Jake brought up that he has first sack. Congrats to him. LVN was kind of quiet, although he did force a throwaway, had a quarterback hit, was credited with 2 run stops. But the Packers defensive line as a whole, like Jake said, with the depth, the Packers as a team forced 33 pressures. 26 of them came from defensive linemen. Yeah. Bryant, how you feeling about the linebackers?
Yeah, I mean, once again, you just see them flying all over. They're going to make some mistakes. Quay had a really bad missed tackle on the Ertz touchdown, but it's hard to. We can sit here and fault them for it, but I want them playing with their hair on fire. They're flying everywhere. I mean, they're all over the screen. Like Jake said, Cooper is everywhere. Well, so between Edge and Quay, they combined for 18 tackles, 3 quarterback hits, and Cooper had a half a sack. Crazy enough, they weren't credited for any tackles for loss. However, I can think of 2 plays off the top of my head where Cooper stopped them at least a half yard short of the line of scrimmage. It just all really depends on where they spot the ball. So they actually had Cooper credited with a sack and a half at one point because he ran Jaden Daniels out of bounds for no gain, and typically that ends up being a sack, but they must have deemed it just a running play. Isaiah McDuffie had a few tackles. There was one really nice run stop I recall him having. That was a really nice tackle. Hopper didn't play too much, and he had the dumb penalty on special teams that we'll talk about later. But they absolutely shut down Jaden Daniels' ability to run. I was almost right on my crazy bowl prediction that Jordan Love would have more rushing yards. And the fact that he only had 3 less rushing yards with I think he only had 2 rushes where he absolutely destroyed a guy and 1 angry scepter, by the way. I love to see that. And he only had 3 yards less than Jaden Daniels, who had 7 or 8 carries. So that's awesome.
I saw at one point that Jaden Daniels had 7 scrambles for 15 total yards.
Yeah. So really good job again by that has a lot to do with Quay and Cooper getting out on him. So in coverage, people are going to rip apart their numbers because they did allow 12 for 14 for 112 yards. But honestly, those are checkdowns that they pretty much just always credit against the linebackers. You're not going to find a lot of linebackers who coverage stats are absolutely insane. And then let's see here. I want to say one other thing. Stop talking about this. I've seen 3 different players this week talking about being traded or whatever. So Quay, offers for Quay. If anything, those happened prior to the season. Furthermore, why the hell would we trade Quay Walker after the way we're playing as a defense? And I've seen it for Romeo Doubs, and I've seen it for
Malik Willis.
This shit, it's not happening. The only one I could see possible would be Malik Willis, and I'm not doing that unless the Cincinnati Bengals say, here's a 2nd-round pick. Maybe a third.
I mean, at this point, it might be a high 3rd.
Somebody's audio is messed up right now.
I can't. Jake sounds like a robot.
Is it mine?
Yes, it's Jake's.
It's mine.
Jake sounds like he's been smoking for about 7
He holds one of those things up to his throat.
Zach gave us the numbers. He said it was 7 for 17 for Daniel.
Yeah. So
Love that.
Yeah. So overall, really good job again by linebackers tackling. Yeah, they had 8 missed tackles or something. It was like that. The only real 9 missed tackles. The only really bad one that I recall was the Quay Walker against Ertz that resulted in a touchdown. Got to make that tackle. Quay knows that. He'll probably hopefully learn from that. He's so fast he needs to stop overrunning people because he just needs to stop, and they're not going to get around him. So, but overall, really great team by the game again by the linebackers and tackling.
Honestly, under 10, I'm not mad at it. I mean, when Joe Barry was the coach, we were happy if it was under 12 or 13. So for them to be under 10, I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to skip ahead to Simon. Simon, how do you feel about the secondary?
Really good. Nissan Nixon had a game.
At the end.
Well played.
He had 4 per PFF, but everywhere else says 5 pass breakups, and he allowed 0 completions. There was one really sweet one where he came in and knocked out of, I think, Terry McLaurin's hands the last second, and man, that was. It was there was 2 or 3 in, and I was like, dang, this might be Nixon's best game of his career. And then he just kept, he just balled out. Valentine had
against Noah Brown.
Was it Noah Brown?
There was one on the sidelines that he knocked out of Noah Brown's.
I don't know. He had 5 of them, so it's hard to tell.
I was talking about the one where he caught it, and
he punched it out.
and then it was 1 step and just boom, and he knocked it out. I thought that was a really impressive play. Carrington Valentine, I thought he had a pretty good game too. He only allowed 1 completion on 4 attempts for 7 yards. Bullard had allowed 5 for 6 for 39. Xavier McKinney 2 for 3 for 16, and he forced an incompletion. Evan Williams had 3 for 23. I mean, these guys were just they didn't allow anything downfield at all. I can't even remember the longest pass couldn't have been more than maybe 5-10 yards downfield. I'm talking about air yards, not catch and run like a Debo or I don't know. Maybe that Luke McCaffrey one down on the right sideline might have been the longest air yards of the day. but they kept everything in front of them and allowed basically nothing until the end of the game when it was already over.
Yeah, and I wanted to say it not only was Keyshawn Nixon's best game for sure this year for him to have a bounce back the way that he did, but I was really impressed with Javon Bullard early in the game.
Yeah.
Obviously nothing bad happened later on in the game to dissuade me from it, but Javon Bullard made a lot of really nice plays at or just beyond the line of scrimmage really early in the game as well. That was really impressive to me.
He's really good in the
Jaden
box.
Daniels later on too. Yeah, he's a good box safety. He smacked Jaden Daniels later in the game too.
And that's one of the benefits of Quay Walker and Edgerrin Cooper being able to do the job of 3 linebackers and 2 men. It allows you to put an extra secondary player on the field, that player being Javon Bullard. All right, Jake, how do you feel about the Packers' defense on 3rd and 4th down?
So 3rd and 4th downs. So we allowed 5 of 16, which is very good. That's 31%. I'll take that every single day, every single Sunday for the rest of the season. 3rd and short, they were 2 of 4. The 2 that they converted, 1 was 3 yards and 1 was 1 yard. Then 3rd and medium, they were 1 for 4. That's the 4 through 7 range. The one they converted was a 6-yarder. And then 3rd and long, they were 2 for 8. And both of them that they converted were when the Packers were playing prevent defense in the 4th quarter. So if the Packers really wanted to, they probably could have shut both those down if they were playing real defense. But overall, like I said, 5 of 16, 1 of 3 on 4th down. They were just really good. They put them in long situations. When they have as many attempts from 3rd and 8+ as they do from 1 to 7 yards, you're living good, man. You're living so good. So great job by the Packers defense on 3rd downs.
All right. What about in the red zone?
So red zone, I came into the year and I was like, you know what? I'd like him to be around this percentage, this, trying to sound all smart. How about you just not let him fucking get there? It's a good idea too. They got there one time. One time the entire game. They did give up a touchdown. But Daniels, to get into the red zone, hit a deep pass to McCaffrey, 19-yarder to get to the Green Bay 14. They had a 1st and 10 at 14. There was a 1-yard scramble. Man, they had Jaden Daniels shaking ass all night, man. That shit was so funny to me. 2nd and 9 from the 13. Daniels hit McLaurin for 7. 3rd and 2, there was a holding call on McKinney, so an automatic 1st down. From the 6-yard line, so it was a half the distance to the goal penalty. They had a 1st and goal from the 3. There was a holding on the Commanders. 1st and goal from the 8. There was a sack. That was Sorrell and Brooks, so big-time sack right there after the penalty. Gave him more yardage than a 2nd goal from the 10. That's where Daniels hit Deebo Samuel. And then they did get the 2-point conversion to Luke McCaffrey. But, people want to say, oh, it shouldn't have been that close, or the Packers shouldn't have let him do this. We were basically playing prevent for 2/3 of the second half, bro. I mean,
that's the chew up as much clock as you can defense.
Yeah, they were just trying to get out of there, no dumb injuries.
It's a point where, for all intents and purposes, yes, the Packers have allowed 31 points. That's what the official thing is. But the way to kind of think about it is essentially the Packers beat the Lions 27-6, 24-6, if you want to take the late field goal out, because that was also kind of garbage time, and the Commanders 27-10, essentially.
Yeah, I never felt like either game was that close.
No.
Yeah, the fact that they haven't given up a touchdown, the defense has not given up a touchdown unless the Packers are ahead by more than 2, or at least 2 scores, is extremely impressive.
And as soon as the Commanders cut it to a 1-score game, the Packers immediately went down and scored a touchdown.
Exactly what they did.
Immediately.
They did almost exactly the same thing to Detroit as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, the Detroit got a field goal that made it 14-6, and then the Packers are 14-3, and then 2 plays later it was 21.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
So just the defense as a whole, Zach put the numbers in here for us. 20 for 42 for 200 yards by Daniels, and very little in the running game. Thanks for putting that up there, Zach. Against the Rookie of the Year and a guy who, was probably a guy who was picked to have some MVP votes coming into 2025. And Packers shut the door on the run and the passing game. Like we went through this last year. The Packers were actually pretty decent against running quarterbacks last year. They were decent against Anthony Richardson and Jalen Hurts and Kyler Murray. They kept those guys in check. So I wasn't worried about that so much, but the Commanders made a deal to go and get Deebo Samuel to pair him with Terry McLaurin. There was no point where like the Commanders were going to think about trading Terry McLaurin. They went and traded for Deebo Samuel to have those two on the field together.
Yeah.
And Zach Ertz, though older, was still very reliable tight end last year. So top 5 offense, added Deebo Samuel, and the Packers still had them under 20 points. So, Bryant, I understand it's a little bit different than last week, but how do you feel about special teams?
Yeah, not great. It was not a good showing at all, really, all the way around. Whelan was fine, I thought. He averaging 50-something yards a punt. He's pretty solid. I want to say I did like the fact that after McManus, I felt like McManus maybe just rushed that or something. It was a bad miss, 48 yards. That should pretty much be a chip shot for him. It has been in his career. I want to say that I was saying when it was, I can't remember the score exactly. I think we're up exactly 2 touchdowns or something, or a couple scores. And I was with 7 minutes left in the game. And when they're there for the long field goal, I was saying punt, just punt it, make them go all the way down the field or whatever on this defense. But no, I love the fact that, after the fact, I love the fact that Matt LaFleur had the trust to send McManus out there to hit a 56-yard field goal in that situation. Because a lot of coaches are just going to punt there up to, pretty much once that kick went in, I didn't care what happened the rest of the game. I felt like that really kind of salted it away because then now it's a 3-score game and it's done. So really that shows how much Matt LaFleur trusts him. So good on him for that. The rest of the special teams I thought was trash. We were pinned back. We had 2 90-yard plus scoring drives, which is great, but you don't want to make a living that way, right, especially when you're starting, inside your 10 and Washington's frequently starting towards the 40 or 50-yard line. So we let off a big, punt return of 24 yards. We let off a kick return of over 50 yards. Hadn't had a holding penalty. Hopper had that stupid face mask. So really just on discipline play. They need to be much better in the special teams, and I think they will be this next week.
Oh, Zach gave us a little note, too, that tied the longest field goal at Lambeau by a Packers kicker. So, nice. Love that. To your point, I don't think that Matt LaFleur sends out Anders Carlson or Riley Patterson to kick that field goal.
Yeah,
no.
I agree. Nation around the National Football League, with how good kickers are getting and now starting at the 35, I think the NFL again next year is going to have to address something because you have teams that can look at Dallas. They're kicking field goals from the 50-yard line. Like you don't have to get any yards anymore. You know what I mean?
No,
so
you have to get two. Brian, you and I were in agreement on this the entire offseason that they need to move the kicker back, not the touchback up.
Yeah, exactly. Move the kicker back if you want returns. Do not move the touchback up.
Yep.
So, I guess I'll put my resume in for the NFL this year because, don't get me wrong, I like scoring, but it's not fair to a defense to give up 20 yards and give up 3 points, in my opinion, if it's on a fresh kickoff. That's
what the NFL wants, though.
Yeah.
They want more points.
So, but that just shows you how good our defense has been. You see, Detroit just put up 50-something points. Chicago's laughable. Once again, they won the offseason. Look how trash that team is, a trash heap. And then, and then at the same time, you see, we beat the hell out of Washington, who beat the hell out of the Giants, and the Giants almost just, put up 40 on or 37 on Dallas. So either we're really good or people are having really bad showings. I don't know. It makes me more excited for my team.
Philly's just going to run away with the NFC East is what I'm also gathering.
Yeah. So, but overall, special teams was not good. But it wasn't. They didn't cost us a game. We'll put it that way.
I will say Matthew Golden needs to throw a fair catch every once in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
they should have called a flag though.
There should have been a penalty on the one
that he first one was absolutely a flag.
And the guy pulled his leg.
And how do you lift up someone's leg and then toss them to the ground? And
what was the explanation for that? Because I thought it was a flag.
They basically, because Golden rolled over the defender, they didn't blow it dead right away.
So he was already down.
But the defender doesn't really know that because he rolled over the top of him.
By the whistle?
Landed on his feet.
I don't get it.
But I don't think you're allowed
his
to tackle people.
His shoulder still touched down for sure, so he was definitely down.
Yeah.
But because Golden landed on his feet and acted like he was going to start running again, the dude grabbed him by the leg and lifted him up and then toss them
which
down.
I don't think you're allowed to do either way. So.
Right.
I think my
Okay.
explanation is that guy in Washington's a douchebag. That's my explanation. But yeah, here and there.
So looking at the coaching, special team, or coaching and time of possession, I think the coaching staff did a really good job dealing with two new offensive line starters, one being a rookie who had a lot of penalties in the offseason, only had one this week, and it happened in the first 4 minutes of the game. Now, I understand we're going to talk about the offensive line in a little bit, and Darian Kennard did sub in for him for 17 snaps. He was playing. They made a point about it on the broadcast. He only played 17 snaps, so Anthony Belton still played 51 of the 68 offensive snaps. So I thought they did a good job preparing them for that. 0 penalties on the defense. I love that. Or special teams. It's a step up from last week. I'm not mad at Matt LaFleur going for it on 4th down on the first drive. There's A lot of game left. B, trusting your defense. C, trusting your offense. So I'm totally down with that. They did want to get a quick snap off, but Kingsley and Egbari started going out onto the field.
I should have brought that up too during talking about special teams. Kingsley Egbari needs to know not to step on the field there unless he's told.
Yeah.
I will say about that play too, just I feel like they were trying to rush. It kind of got thrown off at that point. I don't care that they go for it. Great, go for it. I do kind of wish maybe Matt LaFleur would be like, okay, we're rushed. Maybe this isn't what we want. Let's call timeout and then go for it. Just kind of recollect after, because Jordan would have absolutely got those guys with too many men on the field, but Kingsley Egbari put his pinky toe onto the field and then he had to get pulled back. So, and then
that allowed it basically counted as a substitution.
I will say that the refs, I think, went overboard a couple times in the game with that. The fact that they held Jaden Daniels earlier in the game to where he got a delay of game because he couldn't snap the ball is insane to me.
Well, that's on the coaching staffs for sending in subs that late in the play clock, in my opinion.
Well, but like the guy said on the field, a reasonable amount of time. I don't think it was reasonable what they were doing on that one, and that's coming, to what they did to Washington.
Again, if you make a sub at 15 seconds, you got to give, say, a defensive lineman, you can't be like, okay, well, sorry, you sent a fat guy out there, you don't get to make your substitution.
I would have to go back and watch the timing, but yeah.
It's one of those kind of it's a judgment thing, and they're not going to make a rule on it until it's egregious. Matthew said, hope we beat the Browns. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. We still have to recap the offense, but couple things. 18 points, 230 total yards, 3.5 yards per play, 51 rushing yards, 15 first downs. Those are all lows in any Jaden Daniels start, including the playoffs. So 22 career starts for Jaden Daniels, including the playoffs. The Packers held them to the fewest points, yards, rushing yards, first down, and yards per play that the Commanders have had. Matt LaFleur won a challenge. I love that.
Let's do it.
And then time of possession, the Packers won 32.5, 27.5. Now, this is more front office than coaching related, but I just want to give Brian Gutekunst a little bit of credit for moving on from 3 players. One being Darnell Savage, who was released by the Jacksonville Jaguars today. 2 being Aaron Jones, who dealt with more injuries last year and was put on IR today. And 3 being Jair Alexander, who dealt with injuries in week 1 and was a healthy scratch in week 2 to basically come back from his injuries. Those are 3 players, Jones and Jair for sure, who were pretty ingrained into the early 2020 success of the Green Bay Packers. And Brian Gutekunst made the call to move on from them. And I understand that we don't want to predict injuries or essentially say, good, we got rid of them, they're injured. But I think it's the reality of Brian Gutekunst's job that he did a good job by letting those guys go, knowing that this was a potential outcome. Zach, we did talk about the rumors about Malik Willis. Essentially, 2nd-round pick, or you're not getting him. The Packers stand. No, it's rumors, Matthew. That's what Zach was probably in replying to Matthew. No, we're not trading Malik Willis. The Bengals called about trying to trade for him, but the Packers said, you're going to offer us a 6th-round pick. You can kick rocks. All right, let's move to the offense, and starting with Simon. How did you feel about the tight ends?
Yeah, mac and cheese, Tucker Kraft, man. We were talking about another dude that had a career day. played 62 total snaps, caught 6 balls on 6 targets for 124 yards and a touchdown. Just what an absolute monster day from him. And 74 of those yards came after the catch. And he was – I thought the tight end group as a whole did pretty good in the blocking game. I know we talked a little bit in our chat about like how Luke Musgrave isn't that great of a blocker, but I mean that's kind of what we expected from him coming out anyways. Like he's not kind of like a do-it-all tight end.
The reason I said something about it is because they talked about it in preseason about, oh, he's a much better blocker than he was. And yeah, he whiffed pretty bad on a block early in the game.
But I still think if you looked at the holistic view of this game and what he did, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah. It was one play that prompted.
Yeah, I think I know which one you're talking about too. But
could you do me a favor with tight ends? On Tucker Kraft, instead of yards after contact, could you do yards after stiff arm?
Yeah. Oh man, that was a nasty stiff arm too. Yeah, he had such a good game. And Luke Musgrave, him and John Fitzpatrick are basically splitting snaps now. They each played 21. Musgrave had 2 targets for 32 yards, and Fitzpatrick wasn't targeted at all. But overall, like, great game from the tight ends.
Bryant, what about the wide receivers?
Yeah, on tight ends, I'm definitely excited to see Luke Musgrave getting a little more involved too. I do think he can be a seam threat for us if he can just stop tripping himself, man. So starting off with wide receivers, really unfortunate of Jayden Reed's injury. Is even more unfortunate that a penalty kind of wipes that sick touchdown catch off the board. But Jayden Reed, I don't know if you've seen his tweet today, but he's in high spirits and he thinks the Packers are going all the way and he'll be back. And
high spirits is a way to say it.
Yeah, emphasis on the high. So
did you see he had foot surgery too? It wasn't just his collarbone. Like they fixed his foot fracture too.
Yeah, dude, I'm so happy about that. Hell yeah, dude.
So while he was he fixed his broken collarbone, but they also did the Jones fracture surgery.
I'm a little worried about the Jones fracture surgery because I thought that was like 3 to 6 months recovery. So hopefully that doesn't
kill the season. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see about that. So that's interesting. I was going to say hopefully that gave him more time to heal. So maybe they did something that, because the reason they have struggle healing there is because there's not a lot of blood flow and that bone won't really heal. Yep. So we'll see what happens or what the timeline, if that's pushing that past the 8 weeks. I did not know that. So good call out on that, Simon. I'll have to look into that. I already said this about Quay. People need to stop talking about Dobbs getting traded. He's not going anywhere. Dobbs is a very consistent, solid wide receiver for us. Jordan trusts him. Once again, goes to him on the slant for the touchdown. I love the fact Dobbs is showing so much more emotion and pumped up this year. I think the reason he hasn't been extended yet is because he's going to get more than Watson got. So hopefully maybe we'll see if we figure something out with him, but Dobbs is going to be a solid big contributor to this team every week. If you told me what's the one wide receiver who's not going to go a week without getting 3 to 4 targets and a few catches, it would be Dobbs. I think he's going to be involved in every single game. Wicks is looking good, and he's catching the ball. He is continuing to get open. He's making nice plays. He's hitting them on those out routes. I feel like Love is looking his direction every time he's on the field, and we're about to see him on the field more. So, I will say on the deep route, people are giving Love a little bit of crap for missing that deep throw. I think that's on Wicks a little bit. I think if he rounds that route, because it was like he was trying to reach out for it instead of just taking a step more inside.
I thought the same thing.
If he just takes a step inside on that, if he just rounds that route there towards the middle a little more, that's a touchdown. Yep. Easier said than done when you're running full speed, looking for the ball and everything else. I'm not an NFL athlete, but I think right. I think if you ask Wicks, he would say he probably wanted to break that one towards the middle of the field a little more because Love was throwing away from the defender and the other defender wasn't even really a factor in the play. But overall, really good job getting open on that. Heath, man, that might be one of the most disgusting catches I have ever seen.
You want to know the actual numbers on it?
Well, I know that
it was like
it was like 7.9%, and it was the third lowest completion since they've started tracking that that StatCast thing where how percentage of catching the ball.
Stats. Yeah, it's the lowest completion in the NFL this year.
Yeah, sick kick. I thought there was no way he got his
Yeah,
feet.
I didn't think there was a
I was
way.
like, you have got to be kidding me. I bet the stadium probably exploded when they seen that replay, huh, Jake?
Yeah.
It was loud, dude. It was loud as hell.
That's disgusting, dude. And Heath knew it too. He stood up and he was like, I got that catch, man. So Matthew Golden, I thought he's doing his job.
That one up too.
Let's say he's doing his job, and Jordan Love just missed them. They are. This is what I put. Matthew Golden and Jordan Love are getting very close to being super explosive. Good job by Golden to getting open deep twice. Jordan just missed him. You could see Golden a little frustrated with it. He definitely wants to hit one of those. But once again, I think so. After Reed went out, a lot of the slot snaps went to Golden and Wicks. We're going to see both of them too that I just talked about on the field a lot more. And I think Golden's going to make some hay this week in the slot with quick passes and getting to run after the catch. So that's my one of my early bold predictions there.
Me too, dude.
Yeah, and then Savion and Golden added to the running game as well. Savion is explosive, man. He is so explosive. He slips there, but he is fun to watch too. So excited about all of them. So overall, I think the wide receivers only had 8 catches, but it felt like there was so much more involved in this game, and they did a pretty good job.
That was one of the things that I had within the passing game distribution with Matthew Golden. Seeing people complaining a lot about it on Twitter, and I really just have 2 things to say about it. Is 1, the NFL is not fantasy football. And 2, like you just said, listen to when Simon talks about the running game, because Matthew Golden's name is going to be brought up. So as far as the passing game distribution is concerned, this is the 3rd year that I'm covering this. Jordan Love has still not targeted fewer than 7 players in a game. Still has not happened. This week was close. Malik Heath only had 1 target. Golden had 0 catches on 2 targets. Jaden Reed would have been number 8 if that touchdown had counted, if not for the penalty. But Tucker Kraft did a lot of the heavy lifting. 6 receptions on 6 targets for 124 yards and a touchdown is heavy lifting. And then you brought up Dobbs and Wicks, who combined for 7 catches on 11 targets. As far as distributing the ball down the field, Love was not the best from short and deep passes. He was 2 for 3 for 17 yards. The incompletion was a drop. Was credited with an 81.3 rating on those plays. Deep balls, he was 2 for 7 for 60 yards. Both of the 2 that he completed were considered big time throws per PFF. And one of them was just like a heave down field on a 3rd and 11 play. So basically just, throw it up there, see if we can get a completion. With that, from the 0 to 9, 10 to 19 range, he was surgical.
That was the same as week 1.
Which is very good, because like I said, that 10 to 19 is where I believe that there's the opportunity for the most.
I think we've been saying that since he's been starting. Like, that's just his money.
Intermittent, 10 to 19 is just his zone, and he's very close to hitting those deep ones, but he likes throwing in that. And I love you watch a lot of quarterbacks, they want to check it down. I was talking to a buddy about this at work with the Chiefs struggles. I said I feel like they're either throwing it really short, or they're just taking way deep shots. They have nothing in the middle of the field, and for that, I don't feel like the Packers have that problem at all. I feel like a lot of out routes and slants and everything, Jordan's doing a great job on all those.
I'm gonna be honest with you, with the Chiefs, Travis Kelce's slow now, bro. He doesn't command that intermediate area anymore.
Yeah. That 0 to 19 range, that counts for 2 zones. Jordan Love was 15 of 16 for 215 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 152.6 rating.
Jeez.
It's pretty good, eh?
Yeah. So very, very good on the short and intermediate passes. Going into the offensive line, Brian, how did you feel about the O-line?
Yeah, overall, I thought they held their own with the patchwork offensive line. Penalties did rear their ugly head a little bit, especially on the Reed catch we talked about. I'll say they're not opening enough space in the run game. That needs to change. We really haven't had it. Josh Jacobs is getting 80-something yards a game, but that's just because he's running really hard. I will say I'll let Simon talk about it, but I guarantee there's one run for sure that Josh Jacobs wishes he had back. So Love was sacked twice, but one of them was Love just not wanting to throw the ball away to stop the clock. He could have got that ball away, but he just took that sack. So really only one against the offensive line. Ryan, I will say Ryan and Morgan I feel like they struggled quite a bit, allowing 5 pressures. Ryan also had a penalty. Belton Kennard started splitting snaps, but as you talked about, but Belton took over and finished the last half, or pretty much 2/3 of the game. Not sure why. Kennard played pretty well, so I'm not sure why they didn't keep splitting the snaps. We'll see if they do that if Tom isn't back against Myles Garrett this week. I will say Kennard, if you're going off the PFF grades, which once again I don't agree with them all the time, he was their second best lineman by their grading standard. So Belton, held his own, but it was kind of interesting that they stopped splitting it. But they're a lot smarter than me, so they obviously seen something that they liked. So hopefully that bodes well for this next week. He had the one ugly holding, but other than that, he was lining up properly, so that's a big win. Then again, I mean, if you're the Eagles, you can line up in the neutral zone every game, and they won't full flag. So
that shit is getting ridiculous, man.
It's disgusting. But although I will say every Micah Parsons snap,
people are going to be on the Packers side of this sooner than later, and it's like,
yeah. Every Micah Parsons snap, I'm like, is this dude lined up off sides right now? But he always looks over and points at the ref, and the ref gives him the thumbs up. So I'm like, all right.
He's so disgusting off the snap too.
His speed is insane.
Speaking of like O-line, I thought it was funny. So PFF credited John Fitzpatrick as a snap at right tackle. I want to go find it. No, I just thought that was funny.
I wonder if it was on the 4th down or something.
Maybe I'll find it.
Alrighty. Simon, how'd you feel about the running game then?
Yeah, I think Brian said it kind of off the rip that like I don't think the O-line's opening up enough holes early. Josh Jacobs, he's a beast, and he'll get his yards a little bit, but it's definitely not. It's not like he'll get enough speed and kind of like run over or be able to juke at the second level like we saw last year. So he had 84 yards on 23 carries, which isn't tremendous or anything, and 72 of them came after contact. He managed to miss four missed tackles this week, but it seems like he's like at or behind the line where he's being met almost every play. I think he gets going a little bit after halftime. Like maybe it's just like a sluggish start at the very beginning of the game. And that's something I might have to do is look at the splits between first and second half and see like the difference. Yep. Savion, we kind of talked about the wide receivers got involved a little bit in the running game too. Savion Williams had I don't know. How do you guys feel about like that wildcat look? It's kind of interesting. I mean,
that Savion Williams can throw the ball.
Yeah,
fuck it. I mean, if it's one more thing that the opposing defense has to worry about, I'm okay with it.
He's fast.
And the fact that Love like motion behind him, I was like, oh shit, dude, Matt is fucking cooking something vicious up, dude.
So the fact that people forget that Savion ran like a 4.39, so the dude is fast. I mean,
he's got some speed.
around it. He's got around that defender, and if he doesn't slip on that cutback, he probably gets another 10, 15 yards on that.
Oh, yeah.
So,
and they could. The next time they run it, they could pitch it back to Love.
Yeah.
They could pitch it back to Love. Savion can leak out, and they could fucking throw the ball to Savion.
They
or
could.
Tucker Kraft for a touchdown.
He's probably down there somewhere open.
He's down there. So Savion had 2 carries for 24 yards. Matthew Golden had 2 for 15. And then Love ended up with 3 scrambles for 12 yards. And shout out Angry Run Scepter.
Hell yeah, dude.
Dude, that freeze frame where he like folds that dude in half is so disgusting.
So all in all,
his one leg is
planted and Amos out of the game.
His body or in the other direction.
That was Amos?
Is that the play that Amos got hurt on? Was that his shoulder injury?
Oh,
so I think Amos didn't come back. He had a shoulder injury. I wonder if it happened on that play.
Oof. All in all,
the pride that was probably hurt a little more than me.
The Packers ended up with 30 attempts for 135 yards. So there was a little bit of work, but just like the design to run plays with Jacobs need to be a little bit better.
I will say the guy that we signed to help the run game was one of the offensive linemen that was missing.
And Jordan Morgan's not. He's not known for his run blocking.
Well, he
He's
wasn't.
not a mauler.
He
He's a
wasn't really
finesse
drafted
guy.
as a run blocking guard. He was drafted as a
Right.
pass blocking tackle.
But we played him at left guard in a pinch, which is also is a I don't know. He's
Right,
all over the
yeah,
line, and it's just not where you'd want to put him.
Right.
But he'll be fine, just not what you want.
Yeah, my cousin, who's a Washington fan, was kind of complaining. He's like, "Man, you guys did that with your 6th and 7th offensive line." I told him, I said, "Hold up, dude." I said, "Our 6th and 7th offensive linemen are our 1st and 2nd round draft pick."
And also
they're
speaking of
talented.
that too, is like all the people that were complaining about Belton and Morgan picks, like this is why you make those picks.
Yeah.
And then next year when we don't have Rashid, probably I'm not gonna foretell anything.
Rule it out.
We don't. Yeah. Thank you. When we don't have Rashid Walker because he's probably gonna go play elsewhere, we can slip Jordan Morgan in that left tackle spot, and then guess what? We're gonna probably draft an offensive lineman again next year.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I think it's possible that Elton Jenkins is not a Packer next year.
Yeah, that's a possibility too.
Not something I'm
If
like.
he keeps playing the way he's
wanting
at
to
center,
do.
I hope they find a way to keep him because he is playing well.
Yeah, he's playing pretty good.
But I vividly remember posting about Jordan Morgan when the Packers drafted him. This is not a sexy pick. This is a necessary pick. This was shortly after they paid Jordan Love. You protect your investment in your quarterback. Do
And
you
guess
want
what?
to see what happens when you don't do that?
Yeah,
Look at the
Cincinnati.
Packers'
Joe
week
Burrow.
6 opponent.
Yeah.
Cincinnati has monumentally fucked themselves by not protecting Joe Burrow. Twice they've fucked themselves by not protecting Joe Burrow. He's missed an entire season already and now is going to miss probably 10 games this year because they did not invest in their O-line.
And at that point,
To play wide receiver, which is fun. It sells tickets. I mean, it makes fantasy football fun, but it does not win you a lot of favor with your quarterback.
Well, on top of that, the Packers have the best example of all time of what happens when you invest in a quarterback early in a draft and you don't draft offensive linemen in their basement. Look at the Chicago Bears, dude. Yes, I understand that this offseason they did try to spend a little bit of money.
dude, they
but
pumped money in
literally
that
never
offensive
draft
line.
O-line.
Darnell
They,
Wright.
no, they
They
picked
missed-
Armejdi or whatever,
And they missed on Darnell Wright. So Darnell
and
Wright's
Armadeji. What's his name?
Oh,
The dude.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah, I wanna
he's
go
not
play that
good
guy.
either.
But to your point,
Holy.
Jake, they're pumping in absolute pick after pick. Like how many years in a row did we pick 2 or 3 offensive line? And like one of
Like
them's
7.
gonna stick. You know what I mean? So how often do you see teams not doing that where we're doing that?
And then the
you know,
other
your
guy that
fans
they
are
went and
screaming
got-
about us picking another offensive line. It's like, well, guess what? Now we're 7 deep, maybe 8 deep if you want to consider how Kennard was playing. That we
You know
just picked up with a 6th round draft pick. We're 8 offensive linemen deep.
The funniest part too is the Bears extended polls. It's
Dude,
just
they
so
couldn't again.
funny, dude.
Why did
Did
they
they
do
win?
that, bro? Why did they do that?
They wanted it. They tied him to Ben Johnson.
Yeah, they tied him to Ben Johnson
That's,
and Caleb Williams.
oh my God, dude.
Well, they all can go down with a cinder block together. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's 3 dudes with 6 legs running a 4-legged race.
You're not wrong.
They are all tied together.
Yeah.
But then the other guy that they brought in was 33, 34 years old.
Yeah.
So it's a hodgepodge of 33-year-old dude, a bunch of young guys, and then some cast-offs. Like, you got to a point where you thought Cody Whitehair was going to be a guy who could play on your offensive line.
Oof.
Yeah.
Like
look
I
at the-
said, out of all the picks that they've made, Darnell Wright is the only one where I was like, that was a good pick.
Yeah.
And
same.
to Brian's point, he hasn't even been the hit that all 4 of us really thought he was going to be.
Yeah,
I
I like
was pretty
Darnell
upset
Wright.
at that draft pick.
And that's why the Packers do it more than once a draft. So
typically.
drafting offensive linemen is so necessary, especially when you have a quarterback you want to protect. I mean, if you have a quarterback you don't feel like protecting, by all means, let him get hurt, but you're not going to have anybody that wants to play for your franchise.
Holy. Braxton Jones allowed 13 pressures in the first 2 weeks. Holy.
Well, look at the left tackle that Minnesota has been rolling out there.
Yeah.
But they're literally waiting for Darisaw to get back though.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
and
they got a really
I
good
like
one, but
That's
this
I
is
like
speaks
it.
to depth. They don't have no depth. That guy is getting destroyed.
Yeah.
And now you
Yeah,
got
but-
Mike. Now your quarterback's out 2 to 4 weeks because he's getting killed.
Yeah, JJ
Because they
McCarthy's
don't
not
want him
going
to
to
get
make it.
killed further.
Yeah.
It's okay. They're rolling out Carson Wentz, the guys who's known for his health.
Dude, he's going to be the first player in NFL history to start for 6 different teams in 6 seasons, by the way.
Nice. Good
Oh,
for him.
really? That's
I
a true
heard
fact.
that today in the Dan Patrick show. I was like,
Holy.
that's
North
an
Dakota
elite
State
stat.
boy.
Oh, that's right. He started that BS Week 18 game
Yep.
last year for the
Kansas City.
Chiefs.
Yep.
That's right.
Elite stat right there, dude.
All right. Jake, how'd the
Oh, yeah,
Packers
way
do on
off
third and
topic.
fourth down?
Sorry. No, it's not that far off topic. We're still talking about football. But
talking about
as
the
far
North.
as third down between the Packers and the Commanders, Packers offense went 5 for 12 on third down. So, I mean, you're still doing pretty good if you're getting 5 out of 12. It's almost 50%. So, 42% to be exact. The 1 through 3 yards, the short yardage stuff, I was a little concerned last week because they were over. And I said, you know what, maybe let Love throw it every once in a while. And 2 of the 3 conversions that they had, 2 of the 3 conversions they had on third and shorts were passes. One was to Musgrave, one was to Wicks. Wicks actually picked up the first third down of the game. Josh Jacobs had a third down short yardage run. So that was a positive for me that I took away from this game is they figured out a little bit of the short yardage stuff because you're going to need that stuff as the season goes on, right? When you see people like Philadelphia come to town, which in my opinion, I think Philly can be had this year. They're not the same Philly that they were last year. This might be my homer coming out, but I think the Packers are slightly better with how good the defense has gotten this year. That's a whole different conversation.
Eagles offense, as it is today, the Eagles offense does not scare me.
No,
Yeah, they
not
can't
at
go
all.
wrong. If you
Not at
stop the run, they're in a lot of trouble.
They're in a lot of trouble. Third and medium, Packers went 2 for 4 on the third and mediums. One was the Tucker Kraft, and the other one was Jordan Love just absolutely beast moding Trey Amos into back to college because he's like, man, fuck this NFL stuff. I'm getting run over by quarterbacks, dude. That was probably the loudest I screamed at Lambeau in a long fucking time, dude. Like, dude, when he ran him over, I said, get away from him. I was going crazy, dude. That shit had me so goddamn hype. And literally the next play after Jordan Love ran a guy over, we throw a slant to Romeo Doubs, and the place was bumping, dude. The vibes were just, dude. I don't know if I ever want to go to Lambeau again because I had so much fun at Lambeau. I'm lying because I'm definitely going to go again. But it was so much fun. Third and longs. Packers were 0 for 4 on third and longs. Their first attempt was a 3rd and 19. They actually got 16 from Brooks.
Yeah,
And then their second attempt was a 3rd and 14, and Brooks got 10. So Brooks got a lot of garbage yards on third and longs. So, hey, good for him. He's so good in pass pro. He deserves some shine as well. I really want him to get like 3-4 touchdowns this year because he's just a team first guy, dude. He's like the guy that I love so much.
I think it's pretty fair to say that.
In the Jacksonville game, I'm like, yep, that guy rocks.
Yeah, when Lloyd comes back, it's definitely going to be Emmanuel. If we don't keep 4, it'll be
Emmanuel Wilson on the way out.
That's gone probably, which is unfortunate because I do really like him. But Chris Brooks is just too valuable to this team on special teams and on pass blocking and everything else. So
yeah. I like Emmanuel Wilson too, but yeah, Chris Brooks is just the man. Packers 0 for 1 on fourth down. Love just missed Matthew Golden. I was, what I told you guys last week, I was like, Tyler's at the game week 1. He got to see Micah Parsons' first sack as a Packer. I'm hoping that when I go, I get to see Matthew Golden's first career touchdown. I was probably 2.5 inches off. If you add both throws, I was probably 2.5 inches off from seeing his first touchdown. That long bomb, dude, I was like, dude, this place would have
92 yards.
Probably fell to the ground with how loud it would have been if you would have hit that pass. That would have been insane. Yeah. But I thought the Packers' offense was just elite, to be completely honest with you. I feel like they left a lot of points on the field.
Yep, and still pretty comfortably scored 27.
Yeah.
Looking at the red zone, the Packers had 4 trips to the red zone. They started at the 20, the 7, the 13, and the 19. All of them except for one started on a first down. They scored touchdowns on 3 out of the 4. The one they ended up with a field goal. There were 2 throwaways and a 3-yard run by Josh Jacobs. That, in my opinion, was the only set of downs where I was like, okay, I did not like the play calls. And, it's obviously a little bit easier to say you don't like the play calls on a series of plays that don't work. I mean, it's really easy to just say that. But that play or that drive did still result in points. So 3 out of 4, 75% on touchdowns in the red zone. I will take that every single week. 13 they did, like I said, 3 touchdowns and a field goal, 24 points scored in the red zone. There are only 8 teams in the NFL averaging 24 points total. So I'll take that from the red zone. Going into Jordan Love, Bryant, how did you feel about Jordan Love's performance on Thursday? Almost on Sunday.
Yeah, I thought he was really solid. Once again, I thought, just missing on those deep throws, which you'll want back. But on that first touchdown drive, I think it was the first one, where he runs the dude over. I mean, he's just putting the team on his back. I mean, like, he made that decision that he was going to hit that dude well before he hit that dude. And I think that was Amos's problem, is he thought, he's probably just going to run out of bounds. Nope. He just run him over, does a spin, and gets another 5 or 6, 7 yards. And then if you watch his reaction afterwards, he's flexing, he's pumping up the crowd and stuff like that. I love to see that. Like that not only gets the crowd going, that gets his whole team going. And Micah Parsons even talks about it. He talked about how in the first week, Love kind of stumbled upon himself, and Micah gave him crap like, I thought you were an athlete and you're out there like a baby deer. After he smokes that guy, it's on like tape or audio or whatever. He comes over to Jordan Love. He says, "You took that shit personal, didn't you?" Like, you just smoked that guy. So overall, like, he's just really doing a good job taking care of the ball. That first week, there's a couple really like bonehead throws. Like, what are you doing, Jordan? I can't recall a single one this game that I was just like, what are you doing? And correct me if I'm wrong. I guess maybe I missed one, but I thought everything was really well placed. He was placing the ball really well. The one thing I've noticed a little bit is, and his wide receivers do a good job catching these couple of throws. He's been just like back on their shoulder on them. And hopefully that he doesn't miss one of those later on. But I mean, they're catching them, but when they're hitting stride, they're kind of having to reach back a little bit. But that's like, we're starting to nitpick things. You know what I mean? Like, still completion. There's only been a couple of those. So, but overall through the first 2 weeks, I think he's looked awesome. So
I just want to throw out 2 things. Firstly, on trucking Trey Amos, doing that actually helped him avoid Frankie Louvu.
Yeah.
Because of the trucking Trey Amos and then spinning around, Frankie Louvu wasn't able to hit him square. So he actually helped himself from potentially taking a bigger hit. On the crossing route balls being on the shoulder versus out in front, this is a devil's advocate kind of thing. But I wonder if he's doing that at least a little bit on purpose, just to avoid having a receiver out like this, who then gets nailed in the rib cage by a linebacker, versus being here so they can catch, get 2 feet down, and then turn.
It could be. I haven't seen anyone get hit right after reaching
3 feet to get their
ball,
feet into them. And it's something where, you would ideally, with Jordan Love being a taller quarterback, expect him to be able to see over the offensive and defensive lines, to see if there's somebody that can potentially lay that hit, and then decide to put the ball, further in front or more on the shoulder. But just a devil's advocate thing that might be something worth mentioning at least.
Yeah, either way, I mean, he's putting the ball where they can catch it. That's the biggest thing. It's just once he dials in this deep throw, we're cooking with gas.
Yeah. Couple other things on Jordan Love. The pass to Malik Heath, the 7.9 completion percentage probability, that ball was 51.2 air yards.
Damn.
So it was a 38 yard gain, something like that, or 41 yard gain, but it traveled 51 yards in the air. So it's a 50-yard throw as the crow flies. Obviously could have had a third touchdown to Jaden Reed. That was wiped out by a penalty. That drive did end in a turnover on downs. And the Packers, with a missed field goal, still comfortably scored 27 points. So this is a game where the Packers could have, if everything is executed well, scored 33 to 37 points. Jordan Love did have 5 throwaways. I think he handled the pressure well. He was pressured 16 times through 5 throwaways, and then, to Bryant's point, 0 turnover-worthy plays. And then, just saying, play action. You guys all know how I feel about it. He was 8 for 13 with a 129.8 rating in play action. Also, both touchdowns came out of play action. So, Simon, how did you feel about Jordan Love?
Yeah, I had pretty much all of that. I want to emphasize, because the throwaways are really good. Like, I thought there was some really good where he just live to see another down, and that's something that you see progress that Jordan Love's making. He's also not afraid to huck it down the field. He had an ADOT of 15 yards this game, that's a lot.
Stupid.
It's just stupid. The touchdown nullified to Reed, absolute dot. That was a tremendous throw. And then we kind of talked about the chemistry between him and Golden. It's just going to take a little bit of time, but I mean, Matthew Golden's right there for the taking, and once they get the chemistry down, man, it's going to be special. I think it's going to be special.
I love that you brought up the throwaways and then immediately brought that he's not afraid to throw the ball down the field, because there's so many like, oh, is he more Brett Favre? Is he more Aaron Rodgers? He's both. He's got both of their play styles in him. I mean, it was rare that we would see Aaron Rodgers lower his shoulder and try to run somebody over. Brett Favre would do that. He'd also, take some things to alleviate the pain after the game, but I mean, the downfield, chuck it and see what happens. Also, the throwaways. That was something that people complained about Aaron Rodgers doing too much. So if Jordan Love's doing it a little bit while also chucking the ball down the field, I think it's a balance of the two. So, Jake, do you have anything else you want to say on Jordan Love?
Yeah, I think the rest of the NFL should be terrified because Jordan Love's playing good football and it's not even Toyota-thon. But real talk, man, he is just in total control. All the checks, the accuracy is there, the arm strength is there, and the main thing that you take away is that the confidence is there, and he is absolutely playing with unwavered confidence. I saw the numbers before. I don't remember the exact numbers. I know that when Jordan Love has a clean pocket, he's over 151 passer rating, and when he's pressured, it's around 39. So, I mean, that's just a massive, massive difference. So give him a clean pocket, and this guy is absolutely going to dice you up. And I'm a little disappointed in Simon because he didn't bring up how Josh Jacobs absolutely sent Frankie Louvu into another dimension on the fucking goal line, dude. That was, and everybody's going to talk about the Jordan Love one. That was the nastiest truck of the entire season so far. That was I'm talking all NFL, dude. That was that's a linebacker, bro. He destroyed him. But Jordan Love is this close. He's gonna have like a 5 or 6 touchdown game, dude. I feel it coming.
It could be this week. We'll talk about the offense in a minute, but let's start on the defensive side of the ball with the Packers. Jake, I'll go to you first. What are you looking for from the Packers defense on Sunday?
Yeah, so took some numbers down. Third down. Packers are very good on third downs, doing a good job. Have allowed 9 conversions on 22 attempts, so that's 6th in the NFL, 40.9%. And the Browns have converted 4 of 19. So
gross.
I feel like we're going to be all right on third down. That's 21%, by the way, so I think we'll be all right. Red zone, the Browns have actually been pretty good in the red zone. They have converted 4 of 5 attempts. 3 passing touchdowns and 1 rushing touchdown. They have completed 59 of 83 passes for 3 touchdowns, and they've ran the ball 46 times for 164 yards and a touchdown. I got those stats from StatMuse if anybody wants to double check that. But the Packers overall in the red zone have been very good, not allowing people to get there, first of all, like I said when I talked about this last game, but then holding them out. And lastly, I looked up some numbers on the pass rush. And I was talking to Tyler about this before the other two joined us. And the Browns have allowed 6 sacks, 7 hits, and 31 hurries. And that's in 2 games. The Packers have 8 sacks, 8 hits, and 34 hurries. You know how bad you have to be when and flip. You know how good you have to be on defense to have those numbers that are better than when the Browns are bad? I mean, that's insane. This might be the game, and I told Tyler this. This might be the game where Joe Flacco wonders why he came out of retirement, and he actually realizes that he's 40 years old. He does not belong on this field with Micah Parsons and Rashawn Gary chasing him down. He is going to be hurting after this game.
Simon, what are you looking for from the Packers defense?
Yeah, I kind of just echo his sentiment about, I mean, when Joe Flacco's under pressure, he's 16 of 33 for 150 yards and 3 picks this season. So not great. The their interior offensive line is pretty good. They have two pretty good guards in Wyatt Teller and forget the other guy's name. Apologies, but their tackle duo with DeJuan Jones and Cornelius Lucas have allowed 18 pressures in between the two in the first two games.
Wolf.
Quinshon Judkins, I really liked him as a prospect. I thought he landed in a pretty good spot in Cleveland. He finally decided, or whatever happened with his assault case or whatever, he signed his contract last week and played. He ended up with 10 carries for 61 yards and 3 catches for 10 yards. I think he's a spark plug of a player. He can get a little bit going. I would expect to see a little bit more of him this week as he kind of builds into the offense a little bit more.
Yeah, and I'll talk about Judkins a little bit more later too, just a spoiler alert. But with talking about the pressure that you guys are talking about with Flacco, he's obviously not mobile either. Mm-hmm. Cleveland ranks 21st in pass blocking grade and 22nd in run blocking grade per PFF. And again, these grades, take them with a grain of salt. But I do think the Packers can play a 4-man front and essentially hold serve and get home at times. Or they can be aggressive, send extra, and pressure Flacco and not have to have like a fear that you're going to get picked apart. So I'll say more when we get to X factors, but Bryant, what are you looking for from the Packers defense?
Yeah, kind of like you touched on, Flacco's pretty much a statue in there. He can't move like he used to. Simon hit the nail on the head. I think Judkins is really the only spark, like explosive player. I would be worried about a little bit if I'm the Packers defense.
I like Judy a little bit too.
Judy's a good wide receiver, but he's not like he's not going to take it to the house. You know what I mean? I'm not really worried about him like exploding. I'll say their tight ends and their running backs are very, very so. Where the Packers are averaging like 9.1 yards a play or whatever on passing downs, throwing the ball. Cleveland's at like 5.5. They're the third or fourth lowest in the league. They're going to check the ball down a lot, which can actually negate or help minimize our pass rush. So I expect to see that a lot this week. So I'm hoping Jeff Hafley and them have a good plan for that, to be close to the line of scrimmage. And that's where the linebackers and stuff are going to come in play. Of the 6 top like target getters on their team, the 2 top wide receivers are like Tillman and Judy or whatever it is, I believe is who the 2 are. And then the rest are the next 4 target getters are tight ends or running backs. So Njoku and Fannin are very heavily involved in the passing game. Same with those running backs. So and Joe Flacco is good at he will take that check down. You know, when he's under pressure, we talked about him throwing 3 interceptions. Well, I think if I'm Cleveland, if I'm looking at from Cleveland side, my goal is to keep the ball away from Green Bay and do these little chunk plays, which we know our defense the whole predicates itself on not letting out the big plays. So we'll probably let them get some short plays, but this is where we need the linebackers flying up so they don't just pick us apart down the field a little bit. So that would be, yes, Cleveland's not that scary, but this is the NFL. You can lose to anyone if they have a good game plan. And I think that's what we're going to see out of game plan for them. So the defense needs to be prepared for that.
I would say on the check down aspect of it, that's essentially the way the Packers made the Lions and Commanders play.
Yeah.
So, you talk about not really being super afraid of the downfield threat. I do think that kind of just plays into how the Packers played week 1 and week 2.
Yeah.
And also, like while we're on it, Joe Flacco is 27th in the league and average depth of target was 6.2 yards.
Yeah.
Which is low.
This is where I want to see someone like Nixon and Carrington Valentine jump in some routes too, because they're going to be quick drop back and throw, because Flacco is a statue. So he knows he's going to have to get that ball out quick. So if I'm Nixon or if I'm Carrington, I'm licking my chops thinking I can take one to the house, do a house call this week.
I would love to see, because I've talked about it a whole bunch of times about how I think Keijon Nixon is really good at diagnosing wide receiver screens. I'd love to see him jump one of those.
Yeah.
If you look at PFF grades, the Packers have 2 top 5 corners right now.
Interesting.
The more you know.
All right. Brian, how do you feel about special teams going into Sunday?
Yeah, so to stop the penalties, Cleveland does not have a good special teams unit. Their kickers missed a field goal from less than 40 yards. He missed an extra point. They had a punt blocked. The longest return on either of the teams our either punt or kick is only 29 yards this year. So don't kick them any touchbacks because they ain't going very far. So really just play sound, clean game, and we'll be fine. I will say I could see Hardman getting the call up now that Reed is out, and I could see Hardman being the punt returner for this next few weeks. So that's something to keep an eye on. So really just play a clean game against Cleveland. And I think their special teams could make a mistake to where it helps us, such as like we've seen what happened with Washington, a couple missed field goals or, a block punt or something along those lines.
All right. I'm going to go back to Jake. Jake, what are you looking for from the Packers offense on Sunday?
Yeah, so third downs, Packers are doing just fine. They fixed a couple things that I was worried about in week 1, so converting those third and shorts is really big for me. The Browns, they're not good on defense on third downs. Obviously, now, think about coming into this season. You could not think of 3 harder games to start your season. You got Cincinnati, you got Joe Burrow when they were on fire at the end of last year. They're motivated coming into the season. Then you get Lamar Jackson, so you get 2 division games and 2 of the best quarterbacks in the league. And then you got the Packers coming in, man. I mean, Jesus Christ. I feel bad for Browns fans. But the Browns haven't been particularly good on third down. In terms of other areas of the offense, I think that I'm trying not to say my Simon Says, but I think that Matthew Golden can have a fucking field day this week. I'm just going to be completely honest about it. But I'll save the rest for the Simon Says.
All right. Simon, what are you looking for from the Packers offense?
So apparently we all just went with the Matthew Golden Simon Says this week. So that's interesting.
I didn't. Just
okay.
Saying.
I started with Jordan Love, but I went
I mean, Myles Garrett's a game wrecker. I mean, he has 3.5 sacks and 10 pressures so far this year. They're pretty good against the run. They held Derrick Henry at 23 yards on 11 carries last week after Baltimore had a pretty decent lead. Browns have contacted ball carriers on 80% of their designed runs and stuffed them at a 27.8%, which is the 4th highest rate in the NFL. I mean, Matt LaFleur's not going to go away from the run game, but I feel like a lot of this game is going to come down to Jordan Love and him distributing the ball to our wide receivers.
On that subject of passing game distribution, I mean, feed Tucker Kraft.
Yep.
He has yet to show you anything that he can't do, especially in the passing game. What I'll say is I would like to see some quick slants with Matthew Golden. And I would say especially on Myles Garrett's side of the field. Even if it's just a couple times in the first drive, just to get him thinking like, okay, the ball could be going over my head. Should I ease up and try to bat a pass down? Just something to put a seed of doubt in the subconscious to like, hey, Jordan Love's thrown the ball right over the stripe of my helmet 3 times in his first 5 passing attempts. Myles Garrett's that kind of guy that you're doing anything you can to try to get an edge. As for the red zone, Cleveland is tied for 5th with the most touchdown or red zone touchdowns allowed with 5. They're averaging 2.5 a game, also allowing 29 points per game. They allowed 17 to Cincinnati, whose offensive line is a mess, clearly, and got Joe Burrow hurt again. And then Baltimore, who needed a get-right game after choking in week 1. Bryant, what are you looking for, Packers offense?
Yeah, it's kind of like you guys said that. I think there's like 2 ways the Packers could lose this game. The first one would be doing stupid stuff on special teams and careless turnovers to where to let Cleveland just score points and stick around. And then our kind of letting them do just the chunk down the field plays. The other one is letting Myles Garrett ruin the game because he can wreck a game.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see a lot of protection over there, especially if it's Belton and Kennard. Even if Tom's in the game with his oblique injury, I think you're going to see a lot of Brooks and Kraft over there helping chip him, help him take him off his game. If we can just minimize his impact, and by minimize, I mean like give a sack and a half or a sack against that guy, as long as it's not a forced fumble or something, we'll be all right. So Cleveland, I mean, Packers have given up 97 rushing yards on the season. Cleveland's only allowed 91. Cleveland is only allowing 146 passing yards per game as well. However, interesting enough, they've allowed the second most passing touchdowns, and if you go by their yards per game, they're the best defense in the league. If you go by the points they've given up, which actually matter, they're in the bottom 7 of the league by allowing 29 points per game. Yes, there's the outlier of, Baltimore. I don't know that we'll put up 41 this game, but our
Baltimore also had an interception, a fumble, and like a kickoff return or something. So there's like 21 points right there.
Yeah. So
that is hard to count for.
Yeah. So their defense is good. So don't sleep on them. They have 2 really good corners. They have one of the best pass rushers in the game. Don't people are walking into this game. Oh, we should mop the floor with them. Guess what? This is our first road game. It's still the NFL. Be smart. Play sound football.
Yep.
Can't wait for that to be able to go to the score predictions, and I have the Packers mopping the floor with the Browns.
I mean, yeah, but
Brian, what are the injury designations to watch? I know you've touched on a couple of them already.
Yeah, nothing big on Cleveland's side that I've seen. The big for us is Banks, Tom, Melton, Anderson, Zane Anderson, that is. I think we were definitely missing Zane Anderson and Bo Melton on special teams. I will say when they practiced yesterday, both Zach Tom and Bo Melton were with the rehab group. So, Tom is dealing with a torn oblique. Now that's, there's 2, it could be a very different type of tear. Like bruising is technically a tear, right? Or you see a complete tear. So, Green Bay ain't going to give you those details. So we'll see what happens this week.
True.
Jake, what's the weather going to be like?
So per weather report is 80 degrees, sunshine and clouds mixed, a stray of showers or thunderstorms is possible, high near 80, winds south at 10 to 15 miles an hour. So nice day.
All right.
It was like 4 different seasons in one.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I don't write the damn weather. I don't make the damn weather. That's just what.
Sunshine in the first half and snow in the second.
Yeah.
It is the Midwest.
I get a little fog.
The tsunami hits in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
All right, Brian, who's your X factor?
Yeah, we talked about him. Matthew Golden is my X factor. After Reed went out, Golden and Wicks took essentially all the snaps. So really, I'll say the slot position is my X factor. I think Golden will get a lot of snaps this game and quick completions to get the ball in his hands. Cleveland's nickelback is not going to keep up with Golden. I looked up his 40 time. He ran a 4.50. If we can get Golden running away from him a little bit, I know there's football speed and there's 40 line speed. Golden's probably going to burn him a little bit. Like I said, I could be completely wrong, and we could see Wicks in that position the whole game. And I think Wicks could also have a huge game because of his route running. So I think the slot position, slot wide receiver, is an X factor this week because, like I said, their 2 outside cornerbacks are really good. Their nickelback is not that good, and where can you get a lot of quick passes to help mitigate Myles Garrett out of the slot? So I think that position is the X factor this week and how they address it.
All right, Simon, who's your X factor?
Yeah, I have whoever plays right tackle, basically. It's a tough. Like we talked about, Myles Garrett can absolutely wreck an offense by himself, and Malik Collins isn't that bad either. So
yeah, Packer fans are excited about Micah Parsons. Myles Garrett's probably better than Micah Parsons. So
yeah,
he's not probably. He is.
He is better. Yeah.
Yes, he is elite against the.
I would take Myles Garrett.
Yeah, Myles Garrett's a monster.
All right, Jake, who's your X factor?
My X factor is Jeff Hafley. This is going to be the first time in his career that he gets a head coach fired. Hell yeah, baby, let's go.
All right, my X factor is Lucas Van Ness. I think he can affect the game with his run defense. You guys brought up Quishon Judkins. He ran 10 times for 61 yards in his first game. I think if Lucas Van Ness makes some plays, he can take Cleveland out of essentially what is their game plan, like Bryant talked about, which is to control the clock and the Packers' opportunities to score. So
going to your X factor, Jake. Here's my, for one, Jeff Hafley, he's terrible. No one should want him. But I was going to say my way too early prediction for 2026 is that Jeff Hafley is the Pittsburgh Steelers head coach next year. So
does Mike Tomlin want to come be our DC? I mean,
that is my way too early prediction.
So.
Scott said he got his Parsons jersey today. Nice. Golden jersey back ordered yet. Yeah, I want a Micah Parsons jersey.
I'm thinking about grabbing the throwback before the game since I'm going to the game. They're wearing the throwback, so
nice.
I really want to get one of the full-size helmets.
Yeah.
All right.
Those things are sick.
Let's do some score predictions. Bryant, what is your score prediction from the head?
Packers 30, Cleveland 17.
Oh, I'm just going to go next because I also have the Packers scoring 30, but I have them holding Cleveland to 10.
Me too. That's mine.
30 to 10?
Oh.
Deadass.
Nice.
Deadass. 30 to 10, bro.
All right, Simon, what's your
I
score?
have,
And you have the Packers
I
scoring
have-
30, right?
No, I have I think this is going to be a pretty decently low scoring game. I have it Packers 20, Cleveland 10.
All right.
Ooh.
My score predictions are going to go very anti what you just said. It's going to be fun, but
Cleveland's
I mean,
got a good defense.
It'll be fun.
I mean,
Yeah, they have a solid defense.
Steve said halfway to the Giants next year. Let's go from the heart.
Oh,
Bryant,
good one.
Optimistic projections. Bryant, what is your score prediction from the heart?
34 to 13.
All right. So I'm just going to preface this by saying I have very, very little faith in the Browns offense, and I have the Packers 38 to 3.
38 to what?
3.
3?
That'd be disgusting.
I mean, pretty gross.
They can beat the Saints 30 to 0 last year. They can beat the Browns 38 to 3 in an ideal situation.
Yeah. You want me to
All
go?
right.
Me go
Simon?
next? Simon.
Hey, Jake, you can go next.
Tyler, I'm not even shitting you. I have 38 to 6, bro.
Ha!
We were close.
Garbage
dude.
time field goal.
I have it 30 to 7 with a defensive score. Yeah,
Alright.
field
I
goal.
would take any of these scores and have a very, very good Sunday afternoon.
You want to jump? I'm just going to jump into Simon Says. My offensive one also relates to the score.
Okay.
And the Packers' largest margin of victory since 2014 is 41 points. Green Bay beats it by 1 and wins 49 to 7.
I mean, it would take. I mean, that would be an absolutely disgusting game. It would take. I don't think so, man. Like, I just don't see us putting 49 points
we
on.
don't think so. We just heard the scores, bro.
I know.
We're just too methodical with our drives. We're not.
Yeah,
I get
it's-
it that we scored with 2 plays the one time, but we're not like
Yeah.
Ravens or Bills. Where
It,
we're
it
like,
would, yeah.
Yeah.
It would take a Ravens defensive special teams plus the offense would have. I don't know. It's just,
All right. So
yeah. I
let's
don't
just
think
say
so.
this. We've been talking for the last hour and 22 minutes, and in that, we said Jordan Love and Matthew Golden are this close. Jake said that he feels Jordan Love's really close to having a 5 or 6 touchdown game. We talked about.
I just don't
said-
think this is the team to do it again.
And then we talked about. I said it. Keyshawn Nixon. If he's a guy who can diagnose wide receiver screens well, if he can jump one and take it to the house.
if we're talking against Dallas and their D, maybe. I don't think we do it against
But
Cleveland.
then I think Dallas's
That's
offense
fair,
is
actually.
good,
That's
good
fair.
enough.
Yeah, I respect Dallas's offense a little bit.
Yeah.
To where we have to score a lot.
I have no respect for Cleveland's offense. Sorry.
Mm-mm.
That's fair.
Scott said
Ah.
28 to 6 and 2 touchdowns for Matthew. Hey,
That's
we're in
funny.
for that. All right.
That's funny,
Jake,
Scott.
Bryant, I'm assuming you both have offensive Simon Says that relate
Go
to
ahead,
Matthew
Brian.
Golden.
So I'll just give my 2 offensive ones right now. I put Jordan Love throws for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, and then I also put that Savion Williams and Matthew Golden get their first career touchdowns.
Oh, yeah, that one's happening.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see a path where that happens. Both of those.
What if both their first touchdowns is Williams 2 Golden?
Oh, that'd be so
Oh.
nasty, dude.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be
That's where my
sick if
wife had
Savion
fun
Williams
Sunday.
connected on a deep throw to Golden before Jordan Love did?
That would be.
Oh my
that would
God.
have to. That would have to be the first time in history that's happened, where a rookie non-quarterback
Tandem.
threw to a rookie wide receiver for a touchdown.
For
that would
first
have to be the
career
first
touchdown?
time.
Be
Yeah.
specified as
Well,
quarterback.
Well, now
Yeah, that's why I said non-quarterback.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to happen more. All right, you ready for this?
Yep.
Matthew Golden has his Christian Watson game with 3 touchdowns. in
3
one
touchdowns.
game.
I said 2. I went a little more conservative for my Simon Says for Matthew Golden, since they're just a little bit off on chemistry. That'd be sick though. I'm down for it.
Let's go.
That's good.
Scott
All
got
right.
mine.
Brian, how many do you have on defense?
Just one.
Okay.
So I put-
Mine on defense ties into my X factor being LVN. So I have LVN gets a sack and 5 run stops.
Nice. Yeah. Van Ness has been pretty good in run defense this year.
Yeah.
I think he's been super solid.
All right,
Bryant.
Bryant, rip yours.
Yeah, so Cleveland has only given up 4 sacks so far on the year. I put Green Bay does it for the 3rd game in a row and gets 4 this game. So
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. You guys are going to like this. You guys remember the Tennessee Titan game last year? That was pretty fun, right?
Yeah.
So Packers get 7 sacks, 2 interceptions, and have 22 hurries.
Holy.
Crap.
What do we? I'm trying
We
to
have-
think.
They what,
We have
21
8
last
sacks
week?
right now.
We have what?
We have 8 sacks on the year right now.
Yeah. Well, sorry. Can you say yours again?
So 7 sacks, 2 interceptions, and 22 hurries.
What do we have?
They had 21 against Jaden Daniels, right?
Against
Okay.
Tennessee,
Yeah, that's
we
what I was
had,
trying to think of.
against Tennessee, we had 8 sacks.
8 sacks. Yeah, I mean, maybe. Yeah, I could see it. It's just, yeah. Yeah,
I think if we're on
I'll
our-
take it.
Yeah. And I think if we're on that path, at that point, we're probably up big. And I'm thinking they do what they did and put Dylan Gabriel in last week. And I could see us picking off Dylan Gabriel too.
Yeah.
I mean, Micah Parsons can literally have like 4 sacks by himself.
So I have Joe Flacco gets sack fumbled twice.
Nice.
Okay. Ooh.
See that too.
Okay, I like that.
The other part of this is, so we're talking about, again, that none of us have faith in the Cleveland offense. The dink and dunk nature that the Packers forced Washington and Detroit to play in is how we think Cleveland is going to have to try to attack the Packers, because they're not going to have time to get it downfield. I think that also plays into a situation where the time of possession can end up favoring the Packers so stupidly just because the Browns can't get first downs.
Yeah, that's how the difference is for me. Is that's how the Browns want to play. That's not how Detroit and Washington want to play. So we got Detroit and Washington out of how they want to play. We're forcing Cleveland into how they want to play. So we need to adjust a little bit, and we need to be up in their faces and not let them sit there and just get after first. We can't let them have a high conversion rate on 3rd down. We
But
gotta
that's
keep that down.
I think that's something that we kind of praise Jeff Hafley for, is his adaptability to however this defense can perform. So I think we'll play really good into Cleveland.
The faith that I have is based on how many Packers end up around the tackle compared to opposing players.
Yeah.
It's usually 5, 6, 7 to like 2.
Yeah.
Alrighty. We will be back.
I just had a lot of time to
next
prepare
Tuesday.
for this game too. So
Yeah,
I
we
will.
will be recapping the Packers at Browns game and previewing the Packers at Cowboys game, which is technically a road game, but might as well be a home game because the Packers win more at AT&T than Dallas does. So we'll be previewing that game next Tuesday. And other than that, thanks guys for tuning in, for dropping the comments, and we will see you guys next Tuesday.
yeah,
Go back.